boy, oh boy, look at that White House lawn right there. This is beautiful. Oh, boy, I tell you, the Trump administration just keeps putting that big toe down every single day, and I'm here for it. I am here for it, y'all. Look at that. Yeah, buddy, we have an administration that knows what a criminal is. Common sense is back. Yeah. People got to put their hands behind their back. Yes, indeed. We got to walk you out. We got to put DW-40 on them handcuffs. Make them handcuffs brand new. Yeah, you got to put them hands behind your back. You got to be walked out. Yeah, we got to send you back. Oh, yeah. It's here. That was beautiful. Tom say, get out the way. Get out the way.
It's clear that Mexico is not going to pay for it.
Get out the way. We know who the borders are is. Get out the way. Ain't nobody cracking open coconuts no more. Yeah. We actually know who the borders are is now. Yeah. Let's do it, Tom.
Is that what you're saying?
Let's address that. Trump said Mexico won't pay for the wall. They have in a roundabout way, have they not? Putting 10,000 military on the northern and southern border, taking the action they did, remain in Mexico. They didn't have to do that. They're doing it. Putting military on the southern border. Have moved illegal immigration to a record low. We're saving millions of dollars every day on detention, transportation, removal proceedings. We've more than made up for the cost of that wall because of the actions of Mexico. So is Mexico helping build that wall? Yeah, because we're saving so much money, millions of dollars a day, that we can afford to build that wall. So actually, yes, they're helping to build a wall.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. If you try to we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Yeah, what my president say, put them out in the grass. Put it out in the front yard. Yeah, put it out there. Let them see it. Yeah, buddy. Chess, not checkers. What's going on, family? I hope everybody is blessed, well, healthy, and that nothing but the best is going on in all you beautiful people's life. Man, I got a little late night upload. You know, a little late to the party. I know this broke the internet, and this morning it was just crazy this morning. But the fake news, the enemy of the people, they just can't get it right. MSNBC, DNC was trending earlier for blurring out the images of the signs that were on the lawn on the White House. You know, and again, nothing to be surprised of when it comes to the MSNBCs, the CNNs, the ABCs, the CBSs, the alphabetical news, the fake news media, the enemy of the people. They just won't ever get it right. You know, but a lot of big things is going on in this video we got to get into, y'all. And again, I hope y'all have an amazing start to the week. Happy Monday. Hope all you guys are blessed, well, and healthy, man. And that 2025 is off to a great start, man. You know, we are rooting for America, you know, rooting for the current administration, rooting for President Trump. We send our prayers out, man. You know, American dream, you know, and it's only getting worse, man. You know, I feel like right now, a lot of big things are going to have to take place, man, for us to move forward. It just are, man. How do you feel about the last 100 days of this new president, of Trump's second term? Let me know in the comment section. How do you feel about the last 100 days of this new administration? How do you feel? Let me know in the comment section. A lot of people say we're getting exactly what we voted for, you know, and a lot of other things. It's a process. Things are not going to happen overnight. If you know how the economy works, if you know how this works, it doesn't happen overnight. I know a lot of people are impatient. They're saying right now, you know, but it doesn't work that way, you know, and that's the sad reality. It's a sad truth, you know, we live in, man. And we know it's hard for a lot of people right now. The American dream has become the American scam, the corrupt scam matrix, man. You know, and y'all know what I say. A lot of things are just a complete scam. You know, or our tax dollars. I mean, it's a disgrace, man. These companies, the insurance, I mean, everything. How this whole thing is orchestrated, it's just a complete scam. You know, people have been wiped out their shoes, man. You know, and as a 25-year-old man, you know, it's a lot that I've been learning as well. You know, especially behind the scenes, and you know, starting to do new, you know, get into, you know, real estate and this and that, this and that. It's just a lot of things I'm learning, man, and it's I really feel what everybody's been talking about. You know, it's ridiculous, man. You know, and as I'm getting older, I'm learning more, figuring out this, figuring out that. It's crazy, you know. But we are rooting for America, man. We really are. And I want to send my prayers and love to all you guys that are tuned in, and that you are having an amazing life, that your life is filled with nothing but blessings, happiness, peace, joy, you know. 'Cause we're living in some dark times, man. We are living in some dark times, and you never know what somebody's going through, man. And I tell you, there's somebody out there that's going through way worse. So, you know, I try to keep a smile on my face and stay positive, even through a couple negatives, you know. There's always a positive out of a negative, though. So I tell anybody, just keep your head up, keep pushing. Blood, sweat, tears, man. You know, we've gotten to help out so many people on this channel and be a blessing to so many people. And we're going to continue to be a blessing, man. We're going to continue to spread love. But we got some big news to get into. The White House, the lawn, with pictures of and it's good. We have an administration that knows what criminals are, finally, huh? You know, we have an administration that knows what a criminal is. Prayers for President Trump, man. Put him out on the front line. It says shame on every last one. Shame on Joe Biden for letting them into the country. Oh, man. Yeah. You know, and they even put of what this person has done, man. And again, we see a lot of these things that the Trump administration is releasing on some of these individuals, and their rap sheet is heartbreaking, man. It is sick, disgusting of what some of these individuals that were in our community and what they have done, man. But Democrats don't care. Democrats are rushing and flying on taxpayer dime to El Salvador. You know, I say let them stay there. Put the other activists, the judges, put them on the plane, send them to El Salvador, let them stay there. Or send them, you know what, better for, send them to Ukraine, and also take their paycheck and send their paycheck to Ukraine while you're at it. They don't care for the working class, the middle class, we the people. They vote against we the people. You know, they don't care about families grieving, struggling. A mom that just lost her daughter to an illegal criminal gang member, where he drug her and bashed her head in, and there's blood splashed everywhere, and then raped her. They don't care about a grieving mother. But they're quick to fly to El Salvador. Can't call and reach out and send condolences to the grieving family. Can't clap for a kid with cancer. And then when Trump celebrates him in front of the entire world, they call it fake stage photo op. The big bad orange man, the big bad racist orange man, the dictator, the threat to democracy, Hitler. It is honestly sad what we have in this country, man. It really is. You know. But shout out to the fake news media, one of those huge contributors to that. The fake news media. You know, the fear mongering, the lies, the headlines, the misinformation. Can't seem to tell the truth on what's actually happening. And as you can see up here, you know,
has put
Well, this is what MSNBC
up
does.
about 100 posters of what they say are unauthorized immigrants.
Yeah, they block out, they blur the pictures. MSNBC got a lot of backlash from people today as well for blurring out the signs.
Who have been arrested for violent crimes. You can see them there. They put them up on the. It is right directly behind the positions.
Yeah, you know. But nothing new with the fake news, man. They can't tell the truth. They don't want you to hear the truth. When just like when we seen last week when Trump was calling it out of what actually happened, they cut out of him speaking. I mean, nothing new, man. The fake news media, the enemy of the people. Enemy of the people, man.
In today's video, the White House puts activist judges on notice. Tom Homan has to shut down the media after another misleading story, and mainstream media publishes polls that contradict each other.
White House has put up about 100 posters of what they say are unauthorized immigrants who have been arrested for violent crimes. You can see them there. They put them up on the driveway of the White House.
Yeah, and then when they on the other video of them showing this, they had to blur it out. Again, I'm not sure if it's because of the certain platforms. Sometimes it can be because of the certain platforms. But if it's not, we won't be surprised that they did that. Again, because it's MSNBC, but on the full screen, they just have the picture. But the picture's not blurred out, so that's a good thing. But on the TikToks and the Instagram and Facebook platform, they do have it blurred out.
If you look here, that's the West Wing just at the forefront, the executive mansion itself to the left. But what's particularly noteworthy about this location is it is right directly behind the positions where...
And again, MSNBC has its own media for social media, has its own production team for social media. So their production team blurred it out on other platforms. So that's why they got a lot of backlash this morning for that. And y'all let me know how y'all feel about that, man. You know, but I know how you guys feel about the CNNs, the MSNBCs, the ABCs, the whole alphabetical fake news, you know, media. So I know how you guys feel. So you probably won't even have to waste time in the comment section.
TV correspondents do their hits from the White House lawn. So therefore, no matter doing a hit, briefing about
Trump administration loves to respond when mainstream media starts running misleading stories about what they're doing. For example, over the weekend, the misleading story was what? The Trump administration is deporting 4-year-olds, 2-year-olds, 7-year-olds, American citizens. And the way to own the narrative again is to do something like this. I think that's what's going on. I think they're playing politics all day long. And so as a result, these scumbags are very clear here on the screen. Who are they? Well, arrest of a Jamaican national convicted of first-degree murder. Another one was convicted of rape. Another one convicted of murder. Aggravated sexual assault of a child, predatory sexual assault of a child. We go on and on and on. These are the worst of the worst. That's the point. Now, Fox News believes this is a warning to activist judges. Take a look.
You can see behind us in the wider shot, the North Lawn is dotted with 100 yard signs that show illegal immigrant mugshots next to the heinous crime that they have been accused of. And if there are judges in this country who are trying to help these illegal immigrants, the 100 listed on the lawn, avoid prosecution, then the White House has a big problem with them too.
So expect this week to be a reminder of all the things that President Trump has accomplished, because what the White House is doing as well is that it's a celebration of the first 100 days in office. So they're going to highlight all of the accomplishments, and this is one of them. But that doesn't mean MSDNC is going to go along with this, okay? Because they're already pushing back at the 100 mugshots on the White House lawn, because here's what they said.
So I have to say, one of the biggest challenges that we have with the deportations that we know of so far, for example, with Kilmer Abrego Garcia, we don't know if they've had due process. We don't know if, in fact, these individuals do have a rap sheet. So I would encourage those individuals that have...
You know, they just, I'm telling y'all, the news media, the enemy of the people, man, they just won't ever get it right. After the documents, the evidence, after the report, after not one but two immigration judges come out. The wife had a protection order out. You seen her written statements they released to the public of what she said about that Maryland father. The Democrats, he's a Maryland father. He's not a MS-13 illegal criminal gang member. He's a Maryland father. And the wife on there talking about he's this, he's that. He gave her black eyes. He's a wife abuser. I mean, it's terrible.
Have that as a backshot to blur those people out. The job of journalism is to ensure that we are presenting the facts, that we are cross-referencing. We know that PolyFact actually checked the Trump administration because of an earlier picture that they released on Kilmer, recognizing that it was altered, that it was false, that they had placed gang signs, tattoos on him.
And mind you, when they went and seen him, when the Democrat senators went and seen him at El Salvador, the camera zoomed into his hand having the same tattoos. Same MS-13 tattoos. This is why their ratings are where it's at right now, and why people don't trust the media anymore. This is why.
That weren't real. And so I would really, the press right now, we are absolutely under attack. Our job is always to have our true north, to make sure that we're presenting balanced news, and making sure that we are not putting folks that are potentially in danger, and having that representation of those pictures in the background. We can't allow that to basically for us to carry the water of potentially innocent people. So I recognize live shots are tough, but I would encourage folks to actually make sure that those shots are blurred to the best of your abilities.
Okay, so if someone can please explain.
So then they did blur it,
This to me, how is putting 100 mugshots of illegal aliens on the White House lawn putting people in danger? I'd really love for someone to explain that. That's number one. But number two, she goes on this rant about Mr. Garcia and how photos were doctored. Let's say we believe her, right? Let's say she's right. The photos were doctored. Was the court documents doctored as well, where the judge acknowledged that Mr. Garcia was and is a MS-13 gang member? Also, were the court
not one, but two
documents doctored when his wife accused him of beating her up? And the White House is already responding to the media who refuses to report on this properly. Here's what they said.
Well, look, the mainstream media, as you know, Brian, doesn't want to cover this story. What we've done is get violent criminals and other lowlifes on the street. It's literally a murderer's row here on the lawn of the White House. And these are people that we've taken out of the country since we came into office. Last month, we had the lowest border crossings on record. And that's a result of not new legislation, as Biden said we would need, but just a new president getting the job done. We've reunited over 5,000 children with their families or a safe guardian since we came into office. We're cleaning up our communities. We're getting rid of all these guys. I mean, look at these. These are all heinous crimes. These are violent crimes. That would be a Law and Order episode.
All we needed was a new president.
We have to get all of them out of the country.
And here's another example of how Democrats see this. Jessica from the 5 on Fox News wrote this. The Trump administration's response to deporting a 4-year-old American with cancer. Put up your yard signs. Now, we already debunked that misleading story, by the way, because the 4-year-old, right, is an American citizen, but the mother is an illegal alien. And the mother requested that the 4-year-old go with her back to her home country. That's the actual story here, folks.
They just won't tell the truth. What I told you, the fear mongering, the lies, the headlines, they deported they deported American citizen. Oh, Trump's going to deport American citizens. Oh, again, the enemy of the people, man. And this is why we are winning so much. This is why, you guys. This is why we are the media. This is why. And I'm telling you, be ready for these next things to come out. Be ready. It's only going to get worse with the fake news media. It's only going to get worse with these Democrats, the left-wing media. It's only going to get worse. And they will never tell the truth.
So I think one important question that needs to be answered is, where are we at actually when it comes to deportations? What are the numbers? How many are still left in the country? And I think even more important than that probably would be, how many violent, criminal, illegal aliens are still left in this country, and also ones that the Trump administration believes is a national security threat. Will Tom Homan answer that this morning?
How many of the individuals that are in the United States illegally are people like this, really bad people?
Well, first of all, how many illegal aliens I think in the United States? At least 20 million. He said, where'd you come up with that number? We've been speaking about 12 million for 20 years. We know we got 10.5 that we know of came to the border. How many don't we know of? I talk about known gotaways at 2 million. How many unknown gotaways we have? Like between the Big Bend sector in Texas, where there's no technology, how many 1,000 people did across through there? We wouldn't know. We would know now. But, you know, so I would venture over 20 million. But your question is, last count, last I looked, there was about 700,000 illegal aliens with criminal charges walking the streets of this country. 700,000. And that's what we're looking for now. That's what we're prioritizing. Them and national security threats.
And that's the answer. But again, mainstream media is not going to acknowledge that the Trump administration is going after 700,000, not the 20 million, right? They are prioritizing, which I always knew they would, because it just makes logical sense to go after the most violent and people that they deem to be national security threats. And this segues perfectly into our next story.
A plurality, 48%, say President Trump is going too far in deporting undocumented immigrants. What's your response to that?
Look, I'm not running a popularity contest. I'm enforcing the laws. And by securing the border, like I said this morning, we have the most secure border in the history of the nation today. And like I say, crossings are down 96, 97%, depending on what week you look at. And like I said this morning, secure border saves lives. No one wants to talk about that. Because in the last 4 years, we had a 600% increase in sex trafficking. You had over 400 people on terrorist watch lists that crossed that southern border. You had 250,000 Americans dying from fentanyl coming across that border. We're saving lives every day, and that's not the story gets out. So a lot of this polling has to do with the misreporting by much of the media out there.
Tom Homan's been warning American citizens about this mess for quite some time. And that's why I'm going to warn you at this point, along with our sponsor, about
making that journey, meaning fewer people are dying along the way, fewer women are being sexually assaulted and trafficked, fewer Americans are losing their lives to fentanyl brought across the border. And these numbers are dramatic. You're saying border crossers have gone from 15,000 illegal border crossings, from 15,000 a day down to, you said, 178, I think, in the past 24 hours. So amid that, what do you say to concerns for those who are trying to escape violent situations in their countries?
Oh, look, there's a legal way to claim asylum and there's an illegal way to claim asylum. And if we look at the past 4 years of the Biden administration, millions of people came to the border, made an asylum claim. But if we look at the immigration court data over the last 10 years, EOIR, Executive Immigration Review, immigration courts, it shows over the last decade, nearly 9 out of 10 people who make an asylum claim at the border end up with an order removal because they're not escaping fear and persecution from their homeland because their political affiliation, their race or religion. So, and we got to remember why 9 out of 10 are making a false asylum claim. They're clogging up the system because there are tens of thousands of people in this world who really are escaping fear and persecution from their homeland because their race or religion or political affiliation are standing in back of the line. So the data speaks for itself. This is about asylum fraud, not about asylum.
You ever ask yourself this question? I ponder it sometimes. Like, what if the media used the same amount of energy and focus on actual victims that are American citizens due to fentanyl, due to human trafficking, due to illegal aliens who are committing crimes, especially terror organizations that have been set up here in our country?
Same thing we say, man.
How about this? Even the scammers overseas who obviously are hacking people's personal information, committing identity fraud, and also scamming senior citizens. I mean, imagine if they actually focused their energy on issues like that. But they're so caught up in this whole moral high ground that they believe they hold. That's why they lose touch with just average Americans, because it doesn't pass the common sense test on how they talk about these things. Now, here's another example of that.
Betsy, how is the White House responding to these very bad polling numbers?
Well, the response is really just to change the subject. They are here celebrating how the president has performed over his first 100 days in office, and today is the focus is on immigration. So you can see the signs behind me highlighting some of the illegal immigrants they say have been arrested and convicted of crimes. Of course, it also comes as we've learned that 3 U.S. citizen children, a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old who is suffering from cancer, were deported along.
You see, CNN. Doesn't know. I'm surprised CNN didn't block out the back or blur out or block out the background too. I'm honestly surprised.
Side their mothers who were
But
undocumented.
you know, again, they still go. They you just. Oh boy,
It's there
Wolf. Oh brother Wolf.
by White House officials, not by the news media, right?
That's exactly right. And, you know, the president is so keenly aware of stagecraft. These have been behind every television live shot all day today.
Explain where Wolf Blitzer was going with that type of question. Did the news media put up the yard signs on the White House lawn? Where is he going with that? And secondly,
CNN.
You saw how they led with the entire narrative that Trump is deporting American citizens. We're talking about the 3 children, 4, 7, and 2-year-olds. But they failed to mention that their mothers are illegal aliens. For some reason,
The fake news won't ever get it right. They won't ever tell the truth. They won't ever tell you the full thing. They won't ever tell you. This is why. This is why, y'all. This is why. They won't tell you. And then they run this. They run on this. And then this is why we have Trump derangement syndrome at stages we've never seen before. Elon Musk derangement syndrome. You know, this is why. They can't tell the truth. Lie after lie. They can't tell the full thing. They won't show the full thing. They don't want you to hear the truth. They run away from it. It breaks their hearts. Just can't make this up, man. You just can't.
they always leave that out. Now here's Tom Homan shutting the media down once again on this story.
If you enter this country legally, it's a crime. If you remain in this country legally and you ignore a judge's order about deporting, if you choose to have a U.S. citizen child, knowing you're in this country legally, you put yourself in that position. You put your family in that position. What we did is remove children with their mothers who requested the children depart with them. This was a parental decision. Parenting 101. The mothers made that choice. And I tell you what, if we didn't do it, the story today would be Trump administration separating families again. No, we're keeping families together. So when a parent says, I want my 2-year-old baby.
That he brought that up. If that wasn't the case, the story would be Trump is that they're separating, splitting up families. And then, you know, the media, the fake news media, mainstream media can't wait to jump on that. Just as you see there, they couldn't wait to jump on, oh, Trump's deporting American citizens.
Baby to go with me, we made that happen. They weren't deported. We don't deport U.S. citizens. The parents made that decision, not the United States government. But I don't hear any questions about Laken Riley had a mother. She's never going to see her child again. Rachel Morin, she had 5 children. Those children are never going to see their mom again. This administration doing the right
thing. And that again, if you really about some of these cases, man, being brutally beating and head smashed in and blood splattered everywhere and raped. Serious, man. It's nasty. But they don't, mainstream media, the Democrats, the left, they don't care. They don't care.
Right thing.
Yeah, so this segues into our next story because on top of this whole storyline that Trump has deported American citizens, they're trying to use the bad polling numbers that came out over the weekend, which are flawed, by the way. And that's not just me being a partisan hack. There's actually some truth to it, which we'll talk about here shortly. But this is an effort to continue to control the narrative because that's what mainstream media would like to do. They leave out the fact that the mothers were illegal aliens. They leave out the fact when they publish these polls that it's majority Democrats answering them. So just to give you a little taste of what they're saying about President Trump's approval ratings, listen to this clip.
What do you think is fueling Trump's drop in support in the polls? There are so many things that people expect from him, especially the economy.
So many promises made, too, by the president as well, not only on the campaign trail, but certainly in these first 100 days. If you look at this right here, if you look at some of the issues, what is fueling this right now, it shows it's really across the board right now. And if you look at where he was in mid-February and you look where he is right now, he is underwater on every issue from a minimum of 3 percentage points to a maximum of 9 percentage points. Specifically when it comes to inflation in the economy, as you point out, which is supposed to be his, his expertise at this point. What is also interesting, just overall too, Sarah, is that he is down 7 points from late February, as we note him being an all-time low. That is an amazing drop in such a short period of time. So with his cuts that he's trying to institute are just not taking hold.
All right, now let me share some context with you so you can understand my thinking, okay? When CNN releases a poll that favors President Trump, the reason why we talk about it and celebrate it is because we already know inherently most of the people that are being polled are not Trump supporters. So when CNN releases a negative poll of President Trump, we have to factor that in still. But let's first debunk this. Now, they say, according to CNN, he's underwater on immigration. They have him at 45%. However, when you look at the CBS poll that came out during the same time, they have him at 56% approval rating on immigration. And you guys know that President Trump had to respond to these polls. He said the great pollster John McLaughlin, one of the most highly respected in the industry, has just stated that the failing New York Times and ABC Washington polls about a person named Donald J. Trump are fake polls from fake news organizations. The New York Times has only 37% of Trump voters, and the ABC Washington Post poll only has 34% of Trump voters. Unheard of numbers unless looking for a negative result, which they are. Now, picking up where we left off yesterday, where Democrats spent 12 hours on the steps of the Capitol, spewing nonsense about how they're going to fight President Trump and not necessarily create solutions for everyday Americans.
And they still out there? Don't tell me they still out there. These people here, man, need help, man. I'm telling you.
Have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption? But I am now.
Can we put this big clown in handcuffs and walk him out?
Moment of peace. And microphone that we have, we must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
So the reaction here is that if President Trump or Republicans were speaking that way, we know how mainstream media would react. They would say that the president is inciting violence, he's acting like Hitler, he's being an authoritarian leader, all of these same talking points, right? And the whole point here is to highlight the hypocrisy and show you what both sides are really saying here. And I'm of the opinion that when people speak like this, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, you're not helping, okay? Because that just creates a more divisive environment. That's just my own personal opinion. And now I want to hear your personal opinion. What do you think, Evan, your plus out in these first 100?
But yeah, I do want to know, how do you guys feel about the first 100 days, man? I've seen a lot of comments in our previous video of we're getting exactly what we voted for.
And so many people,
and some people saying that this has been the best 100 days, but again, a lot of things that are being put in place, and it's a process. And in the long run, in the long term, it's a masterpiece, But again, you guys, we are rooting for America and this current administration, and the man is doing exactly what he campaigned on. Love or hate the man. And they hate the man because he's doing exactly what he campaigned on. Over almost 300 executive orders. I mean, man, from redoing what Biden did, and half of the things he didn't know what he was doing. They say he wasn't around. They couldn't get a meeting. He on the plane. Wait, he's on vacation. Wait, he's asleep. Wait. The other ladies in the room laughing. Coconuts falling out the coconut tree. But she was the last one in the room. Woof. And they say, ma'am, what would you have done different than Joe Biden if we would have elected you? She says, nothing. Nothing at all. We did such an amazing job. So, hey, let me know what y'all think. I love y'all, and I'll catch you on the next one, man.